Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So today we are going to talk about the Fifth Service, and just for the sake of continuity, that's what we're going to call it. Understand, like most intelligence or special operations groups, the real name changes, but in common conversation, it's the Fifth Service. What is the Fifth Service? Something Putin put together back in '98, I think. Its sole purpose for being was to engage in intelligence operations in former Soviet republics and keep them in Russia's sphere of influence. For those who are just dead set on the idea that Russia doesn't engage in this type of activity, please understand they had what amounts to an entire directorate whose whole purpose in being was doing the thing that a lot of people don't believe they were doing. The reason we're going to talk about them is because Putin is in the process of purging them. The boss over the group was placed on house arrest. He has now been sent to a notorious prison, something comparable to sending an American to Gitmo. That is where the boss of the Fifth Service is currently residing. On top of that, they have dismissed around 150 officers from this crew. And it's all because of the invasion of Ukraine. Now, there are the normal intelligence failures that occur. Okay? And we know that a bunch occurred in Ukraine. We have the whole video talking about that. So that is part of the reason they're being canned. Okay, that's why this is happening. I would point out that a mass firing in the intelligence agency responsible for gathering the information to plan this little adventure is a clear sign that Russia's, everything's going according to plan. Well, that's not true. Okay. So everything I've said up till now, fact, verifiable, reportable, all of that stuff. Now we're going to get to the rumor, because there's a rumor that is going along with this, and while it is just a rumor, makes a whole lot of things make sense. So the rumor says that a lot of these officers had reported that they were funding resistance groups inside Ukraine that were loyal to Russia. And the reality is those groups never existed. They were just pocketing the cash. They were paying off sources that didn't exist and just pocketing the cash. This is the rumor. And that sounds wild, but it's really not, because, what it costs to arm a resistance group, that's a lot of money. It's so much money that it's no longer just money, it turns into motive. And it's cash. And if you are under the assumption that there's no way Putin would be crazy enough to invade Ukraine, why not? It's not like they'd ever be used, right? So the rumor is this was very widespread, this habit of creating sources and groups, keeping the cash, sending up reports of information that's just literally made up, and sending that to the Kremlin. So it's a rumor, but it's one I believe, because it makes so much just make sense. That airdrop I constantly make fun of, because there's no way it would work. You know how it might be successful? If you had an armed resistance group on the ground waiting for you. A whole lot of their planning starts to make a whole lot more sense if you factor in the existence of a partisan group loyal to Russia operating inside Ukraine. That actually may be why their plan was so off and why they attempted things that didn't make any sense. Because they believed they would have support on the ground that literally didn't exist. It was just made up. So what does this mean from here? While it does, in some ways, make sense to fire all of these people who lied, it's also a huge liability for Russia. It hinders further war planning. Because even though they were skimming money, even though they were engaged in this dishonest behavior, they've actually been there. They are intelligence officers who are familiar with these countries. So much so that they were able to fabricate reports, if you believe the rumors, that fooled the Kremlin. They might have gone too far in the disciplinary procedures here, because they may have just robbed themselves of the entire intelligence corps that could have, in theory, at least fixed some of this. But now they have to bring in new people. And because of the rampant paranoia that is certainly going to occur now, they're going to be micromanaged. And they're not going to do as well. There's also a high likelihood that Putin is taking this very personally, because this is his baby. The Fifth Service, that was his baby. And it was his child, all grown up, who turned on him and destroyed his dreams. Again, the verifiable part, this purge has occurred. At least 150 officers. The boss has been sent to a really bad prison. Understand, the prison that he was sent to, this is a punishment worse than being like sent off to Siberia. He's having a really bad time right now. All of that is verifiable. And Putin blaming them for the intelligence failures, that's verifiable. The rumor is the part about the fake sources and fake resistance groups. But, man, does it fit. It explains so much. And there's no way for us to verify this. In fact, even if it's true, we'll never find out. This will be one of those things that the Russian national government is so embarrassed about that they'll hide forever. Because if it's true, all of those losses, they can be directly attributed to this, to these fake reports, and to the Kremlin falling for them. It would make Russia look horrible. So they would never let this see the light of day. But it sure does add up. More so than anything else Russia has done in this entire war. In fact, if you factor in what was said to be in these reports, a lot of their moves that just didn't make any sense start to make sense. It looks like they were played by their own people. It looks like corruption and greed undermined a war effort that probably would not have occurred if those reports had never been made. Because those of us on the outside, we understood the problems with trying to hold this land with the troop numbers they had. Well, it becomes easier if you have a resistance group that's on your side, that's going to help you. Everything starts to add up if you factor in these mythical partisan groups loyal to Moscow. So there's the dividing line between what's verified and the rumor, the speculation. I will say that I fully believe the speculation. I can't prove it, but yeah, that definitely seems like what happened. Totally tracks. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.